Jalen Warren said he's not making any bets about whether Rodgers will play or retire at this point. You know, I'm not really expecting anything. Whatever happens, happens. I'm rocking with whoever that quarterback at the quarterback position. But if he comes back, great. If he doesn't, then we'll miss him.
Hey, I know Aaron Rodgers is loving this. I think any quarterback is loving this. We can have a team by the balls being for what, 42? Wait, how old is he?
Yeah, 42. Yeah, 42. That sounds about right, Ocho.
Yeah, you know, and this lets people know, those in the chat that are watching or those that are fans of the NFL game, on how important the quarterback position is, because they understand how valuable Aaron Rodgers is, even though he's not the same Aaron Rodgers of old.
Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. He is not committed to playing football this season. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most storied franchises in NFL history, are sitting here with the draft 3 weeks away, completely paralyzed, waiting for one man to decide if he feels like suiting up. One man, holding an entire franchise hostage. And the most outrageous part of this story is not what Aaron Rodgers is doing. It is that the Steelers built this prison cell themselves, handed him the key, and have been wondering why they cannot get out. But before we tear this situation apart completely, we need to talk about the specific pattern Rodgers has been running on franchises for years and why Pittsburgh should have seen every single move of this coming from miles away. Because this is not new. This is not surprising. And the fact that an organization this experienced is still playing this game in 2026 tells you something deeply concerning about the people making decisions in that building. Plus, we are going to expose the succession plan failure that put Pittsburgh in this position in the first place. And we will get to the one move the Steelers absolutely have to make in this draft regardless of what Rodgers decides. Because the longer they wait, the deeper they dig their own grave. Stay locked in. Because this story is bigger than one quarterback's retirement will he won't he drama. Here is the full context. The Pittsburgh Steelers have an April 23rd deadline. At least that is what they claim. They have reportedly told Aaron Rodgers they need an answer before the draft begins. And as of right now, Rodgers has given them nothing. His own teammates do not know what he is going to do. Running back Jalen Warren told reporters flat out that he is not making any bets and is rocking with whoever ends up under center. That is a polite way of saying, we have no idea, and we have stopped expecting clarity from this situation. And it gets worse. Rodgers has done this before. Not just last year. Not just with the Steelers. This is a pattern that has followed Aaron Rodgers across multiple franchises and multiple off-seasons. The extended retirement contemplation, the dark retreat, the vague signals sent through the media, the franchise left holding its breath while he takes all the time he wants. He did it in Green Bay toward the end of his tenure there. He did it with the Jets multiple times. And now he is doing it in Pittsburgh. The only team that successfully ended the cycle was Green Bay, and they did not end it by negotiating with Rodgers or waiting him out. They ended it by drafting Jordan Love and forcing the issue. By building the succession plan that made Rodgers' annual leverage games irrelevant because the organization had already moved to protect its future regardless of what the veteran quarterback decided. Pittsburgh had the same lesson sitting right in front of them for years. They watched it play out in Green Bay in real time. And somehow they still ended up in the exact same position, pinning their hopes on a 42-year-old who treats retirement as a revolving door and has no incentive whatsoever to stop the game as long as the Steelers keep letting him play it. Now here's where it gets really interesting.
He should have known. He saw it play out with with Brett Favre.
Right.
They got tired of playing Brett Favre's game. You thought because he was a 3-time league MVP, won a Super Bowl.
Right.
You thought they weren't gonna get tired of your shenanigans?
Oh yeah. Oh, they get
just
tired.
like they drafted you to replace him. Why do you think they drafted Jordan Love? To sit on the bench for the next 10 years?
Yeah, you're right. But listen, this is the hard part. This is the hard part for the Steelers. When Ben Roethlisberger was there, they didn't draft for Jordan Love. They didn't draft anyone even as close because they didn't want to piss Ben off. Now you're stuck in quarterback purgatory. Looking for somebody else. We have to rely on a 42-year-old, 43-year-old quarterback to let you know when he wants to come back and let you know if he's going to come back.
Let us talk about how Pittsburgh actually got here. Because the root of this crisis goes back much further than Aaron Rodgers and reveals a front office philosophy that has been failing this franchise for over a decade. When Ben Roethlisberger was the Steelers' quarterback, Pittsburgh made a decision that organizations make all the time when they have an elite veteran starter. They avoided doing anything that might upset their franchise player. No high-profile quarterback drafted to push him. No public succession plan that might signal a lack of confidence in Big Ben. No uncomfortable conversations about the future while the present was still producing wins. And on the surface, that approach looked reasonable. Ben was a Hall of Famer. He was still winning games. Why create friction when the current arrangement was working? The problem is that when you spend an entire decade refusing to draft your future quarterback in order to keep your current one comfortable, you do not get to be surprised when the music stops and there is nobody left sitting in the chair. The Steelers watched Ben slow down in real time, the injuries piling up, the arm not quite what it used to be, the mobility disappearing, and still could not bring themselves to have the uncomfortable organizational conversation that every franchise eventually has to have. Ben retired and Pittsburgh was exposed completely. Not one credible long-term answer on the roster. A parade of Mason Rudolphs and Cody Pickett's and Mitchell Trubisky situations that confirmed the depth of the organizational failure. And then Rodgers arrived, not as a solution but as a postponement. A way to buy time without actually fixing the problem. That is the donut tire analogy that cuts right to the heart of it. Aaron Rodgers is a spare tire. He is the thing you put on your car when the real tire blows out because you have nothing else and you need to get somewhere. The spare gives you limited distance at reduced speed. It is not designed to take you all the way to your destination. And if you drive around on it for 2 or 3 seasons pretending it is a real tire, pretending Aaron Rodgers at 42 is a long-term quarterback solution rather than an emergency bridge, you are going to end up stranded on the side of the road wondering what just happened. Here is the part of this story that nobody is being direct enough about. Aaron Rodgers is not the villain here. He is doing exactly what any smart person in his position would do. He has leverage. He knows he has leverage. The Steelers have given him no reason to stop using it, because every time Rodgers runs this game, Pittsburgh comes crawling back and hands him another year of control. If you want to understand why Rodgers keeps playing these games, you only need to answer one question. Why would he stop? What consequence has he ever faced for doing this? The Jets grew frustrated enough to part ways with him, yes. But Pittsburgh is not the Jets. Pittsburgh is a desperate franchise with no viable alternatives banging down the door. Will Howard is not the answer and everyone inside that building knows it. There is no competition breathing down Rodgers' neck forcing a decision. There is no organizational leverage being applied in the other direction. Pittsburgh is sitting on its hands, setting soft deadlines that have no teeth, and hoping the man feels like showing up. That is not a strategy. That is surrender dressed up as patience. Here is what the Steelers absolutely must do right now, and this is the take that is going to generate serious debate. Draft a quarterback in this draft. Not necessarily in the first round, but in the first 3 rounds. Draft one with or without Aaron Rodgers' blessing and with or without Aaron Rodgers' commitment to return. And make clear to Rodgers, not as a threat, not as an ultimatum shouted through the media, but as a calm organizational statement of fact, that Pittsburgh is building for the future starting now. That whatever he decides for this season is fine. That the door is open if he wants to play and the organization wishes him well if he does not. But that the Steelers are no longer going to structure their entire draft strategy around the retirement deliberations of a 42-year-old quarterback. The Green Bay model is the proof this works. Green Bay drafted Jordan Love. Rodgers was unhappy. He expressed that unhappiness in his own particular way. And Green Bay held the line, because they understood that the long-term health of the franchise mattered more than managing one player's feelings about succession planning. 3 years later, Jordan Love is a starting quarterback leading a competitive team and Green Bay has clean organizational continuity for the next decade. Pittsburgh needs to make that same decision. No, not next offseason. Not after Rodgers makes his decision. No, while the draft is approaching. While the picks exist to do something meaningful with. Because here is the alternative. Rodgers comes back for one more year, the Steelers go 9-8 or 10-7, make the playoffs as a wild card, lose in the first round, and then Rodgers actually retires for good and Pittsburgh is right back in the same position they are in right now. Except they will be a year older, a draft class further removed from the last deep quarterback class, and no closer to having a real answer under center than they were when this whole saga started. Kicking this can down the road does not make the problem smaller. It makes it bigger. And the Steelers have been kicking it for so long that they have almost run out of road. If you are a Steelers fan watching this, and this matters directly to your team's next 5 years, the most important thing Pittsburgh does in the next 3 weeks has nothing to do with what Aaron Rodgers decides. It has everything to do with whether the organization finally finds the courage to stop letting one quarterback's indecision dictate its entire future. Draft the position. Build the succession. Stop waiting for permission from the man who has every incentive in the world to keep you waiting indefinitely. The longest-running drama in professional football is not the will he retire storyline. It is a franchise that keeps choosing short-term comfort over long-term accountability. And until Pittsburgh breaks that cycle, with or without Aaron Rodgers, the merry-go-round does not stop. Here is where this stands. Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old, has given the Steelers no commitment, and is running the exact same retirement leverage game he has run at every stop of his career. Pittsburgh set a soft deadline, has no credible alternatives lined up, and is praying he shows up rather than forcing the organizational conversation they should have had 3 years ago. My prediction: Rodgers comes back for one final season, goes 9-8, loses in the wild card round, retires for real in February, and the Steelers spend 2027 picking in the top 10 of the draft looking for the quarterback they should have drafted in 2024. If you want to follow how this Steelers quarterback situation actually resolves, hit that subscribe button right now. And drop a comment below. Do you think the Steelers should draft a quarterback in this year's draft regardless of what Rodgers decides? Or do they ride it out one more season and hope for the best? This is Gridiron Insights. We'll see you in the next one.